Hi, and happy Saturday. It is time for our craft along that we're going to be doing. I'm going to wait a few more minutes because it's still a few minutes before 3. But if you're listening in, please feel free to make a comment on this live so that we can see where you're watching from. And hopefully you're having a good weekend so far. It's always nice to have a little bit different day than what most of our normal days are during the week. So I hope everything is going well for you. Today, just to kind of give you an insight, we're going to be using the Potions and Spells stamp set and making some fun Halloween cards that will hopefully make your holiday a little more fun, as well as the people you send them to. I've never been a big fan of scary Halloween, but I like these because they're cute and colorful and just kind of give us a reason to celebrate a holiday that in a positive way, which is always nice. When you jump on, please feel free to comment and let us know where you're watching from. That would be great to know. Hopefully your weather is nice. I am actually located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, just north of Dallas, close to Denton. And we are having just beautiful weather today. I think it's probably in the 70s, I'm going to guess. Maybe on the 80s, in the 80s rather. I went outside a little earlier and it was just gorgeous. So that's nice because we've been pretty hot up until last week. So it's kind of nice that it's a little better. All right, we still have a couple, I think it's still like 1 or 2 minutes from 3. So we'll wait just a minute. Hi, Marianne. Thanks for joining. Again, today we're going to be using the Potions and Spells. I'll tell you, we got this new Halloween paper that came out when they introduced all of the scrapbook pages, and it is so cute. And even though I had already used this set for my mystery craft box, I just felt like it was a really fun way to also make some cards with that paper because it was just so adorable. Just to kind of give you an idea, let me grab the paper and I'll show it to you. So these are the papers that are included in this set, and they're just so cute. It actually comes in 12 by 12. This has been cut down to 12 by 6. But as you can see, you know, there's a page with the books, with the pumpkin pie and circles on the back. And then we have this granny apple green with bubbles that's really cute. And the back side has black and white stripes, which is really fun. And then we also have this gorgeous grape with the polka dots on it, as well as a side that has black with the different sparkles. And then, let's see, I think there's one other. Yes, this one is probably my favorite with the stripes and the white polka dots. So cute. And then the back side is a diagonal pool party stripe. So just really fun paper. So if you haven't ordered any of that, to my knowledge, it is still available. So I would definitely put that on your list because it just makes up for really fun cards. So, all right, we'll wait about one more minute. All right, so this is the first card that we're going to make up today. All right, well, it's about 2 minutes after, so I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have a feeling this may take just a little while. And the way that you can get the stamp set, or the kit rather, that we are working with today is to place an order of $35 or more by this coming Friday, October 4th. And then I will send you a card kit, and your card kit will look something like this for each card, and it will have everything punched, die cut, and dry embossed for you that is in the set. And it will have all the designer series paper. I will also include the ribbon in here, if there's ribbon on the card. So for example, on this one, we have ribbon that goes across here as well as a bow, so you will get enough ribbon to do that. The embellishments will not be included, but if your order is $50 or more, I will give you a pack of the adhesive back sparkle gems, which looks like this, and I'll remind you again of all this at the end. So you will need to use this host code in order to get this card kit and the embellishments. So if you are interested in that, then you are welcome to place your orders. So, all right, so we're going to get started. The first thing we're going to do whenever you receive your card kit, one thing that I do try to do is everything that goes on the front of the card is usually in the front like that was, and anything that's on the inside, I usually put on the inside. So, or I put it in the back. In this case, it was actually on the inside. So that is how you will know what goes on the front versus what goes on the inside. So I try to make that simple, not because you need that, but because my organization skills tell me that's the way I should do it. So, all right, the first thing we're going to do is cut a piece of designer series paper, and this is 4x4. Let me double check and make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's right. 4x4. Yes, so this is 4x4, and I cut this. The good thing is it's square, so it's just a matter of how you want to glue it on. I did this to where the stripes are vertical. Good grief, I cannot talk. Are horizontal and not up and down. So that way you can have it to where it's oriented this way. If you want to do it the other way, you're welcome to do that, because at the end it will be your card. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on that and just put that down. Again, I just love this paper. I think this is so fun. Somebody that I was watching said that this reminded him of Beetlejuice, and I can certainly see why. The next thing we're going to want to do, and you want to do this before you adhere this back part, but we're going to glue down this pumpkin pie to the very top. Oh, and I should have given you the dimensions. This is 4x1 for this piece. It's 1 inch wide by 4 inches, well, I guess 4 inches wide by 1 inch tall. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we want to take a piece of ribbon and go across the middle of the top. So you will actually get a piece of ribbon in your card kit so that you have enough to cut this and put these things back up so that I can find them again. So here is a trick if you're not used to doing it this way. One thing you can do is take tear and tape, and this is actually kind of a good idea to make sure that your ribbon doesn't ever come out from the back side. And we're going to put a piece on each side before we lay down our ribbon, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with that. Oops, I got this one just a little bit too long. So we will just kind of tear that off. Or you can use scissors if you don't have any strength, which sometimes that's the way I feel. All right, so then we are going to take this and we're going to put our ribbon, whoops, let me move that. We're going to take our ribbon and wrap it around the front. Some days my tear and tape back just doesn't want to come off. So just to get this, and I always try to get it in the middle. So I usually do one side and then I'll do the other. Just kind of press it down on the back. And then we can trim it a little bit here in a second. And then do this. And then in this case, we're actually going to put more tear and tape back here. But if you're ever doing one of those cards where you're not, you know, this is going to be like a book card, so it will be all the way down. You can always put more tear and tape on top just to secure that ribbon down. And we'll probably go ahead and do that just to make sure that nothing comes apart on us once we've finished everything off. All right, so we're going to grab another piece of tear and tape and just kind of put that to where it covers up both sides of the ribbon so that it won't come apart on us. And do that, and then you can actually peel this up if you would like, just for a little bit of extra security there. And then I am going to just use regular glue on this and just put some glue along here. And then we will push this down. Okay, so now we have our top assembled to where you can just put your Happy Halloween on top of that. So let's go ahead and do our stamping, and we will get that done. Let me move this off to the side. Okay, so we want to stamp Happy Halloween on your greeting, and then we're going to stamp a set of the books and color those on that. So we're going to use our black Memento ink. If I can open it. Here we go. Here's our books. And then we're going to do Happy Halloween on the label that we have. So try and line this up. There we go. All right. So I'm going to use dimensionals and pop this up on top of the ribbon. I was like, where are my dimensionals? You know, sometimes everything is right here in front of you and you still can't see it. Marianne, I see your question. I don't know if it'll zoom in or not. I'm not quite that good yet. Hopefully that will help a little. All right, so we are just going to take our Happy Halloween and put it in the center over the ribbon and put that right there. All right, and then for our books, we're going to actually use blends and color those. So what I did was I used Highland Heather for the top book. And what I try to do normally is kind of outline along the lines that Stampin' Up! Puts there for us, because I feel like they are much more of an artist than I am. And so I try to use the lines that they give us to help out a little bit. And I usually will just take the dark and kind of go along the edges and try not to go outside of the lines. It's easier said than done when I'm doing this on a video. And then take the lighter one and we will just kind of blend it and color it in just to make it fun. I love using purple during the Halloween season. Then we're going to use Pool Party next. And again, use our darker one along the edges. And then maybe just a little bit in the middle. And then use the lighter one to kind of fill this in. And then next, we're going to go with Granny Apple Green, which is always a fun Halloween color. We're going to use this on the larger book. One of the things that I love about their blends is, whoops, see, that one went outside the lines. But the good thing is, as one of our friends recently reminded us, it's still a handmade card. So you can go outside the lines, and if people don't like it, just don't send them another card. Ha, just kidding. All right, so then we're just gonna kind of blend this in. And the nice thing about the blends is you can kind of go over it more than once, and it does make it a little bit darker each time. And then finally, we're going to use Pumpkin Pie on the Potions book. So we will just go along the edges. You know, one thing I thought about doing, and I haven't done this yet, but I was thinking this would be cute for Halloween, is to take the little books that we have and then use the mini alphabet dies and write the word potions, or I'm sorry, die cut out the letters for the word like potions or spells, and put that on the spine of that book after you've cut it with paper, and then use that to give friends or family, or if you have a Halloween party, use that to put like candy on the inside, and I think it'd make really cute party favors. So once you get all of this done, you're going to die cut this out. I actually already did that so that you wouldn't have to watch me die cut it. So there you go. There is our colored in set of books. So now that we have all of our stamping done, let's go ahead and assemble the front of this. So what we're going to do is we are going to use dimensionals to put down our gorgeous grape die cut circle. This is from the Deckled Circles, and we're just going to throw a few dimensionals back here. And I'm not going to put a lot just because I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me do them. If I was assembling this card to send to someone, I would probably maybe put a couple more on it. But for today, we're just going to put about 4. And then we're going to center this on our card. Okay. And then we're going to take this black die cut cauldron. So these die cuts that I'm getting ready to show you all are cut from the dies in this set. So one of the things that's nice is in the Potions and Spells, if you buy the bundle, you will get the set of dies, and it has all of these dies in it, which are really fun. And there's just a lot of really cute things to do. And you'll see some of these today as we put these together. All right, so on our cauldron, we're just going to glue this to the Gorgeous Grape circle. So you can use whatever adhesive that you are prone to use, whichever one is your favorite. I didn't used to use this one. I used to use a lot of the Stampin' Seal. And then I started using this one because a lot of the people in my card classes had a hard time with the, whoops, it looks a little bit crooked. There we go. Had a hard time with the other. So I kind of went to the green glue, and I actually really like it now. I like it because it gives you a little bit more time to adjust. All right, so next we're going to put on our drip, and this is die cut with those dies that I just showed you. And this is the Old Olive Glimmer paper, and I just love this stuff. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on this. It doesn't take a lot because it doesn't have to be, I don't know. I don't like it to seep out the edges if I can manage that. Sometimes it's not possible, but sometimes it is. So I tend to put a little bit less so that it doesn't do that. Whoops. And see there, I do have a little bit that did that. So we're just going to kind of wipe it off. There we go. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to put our books, and we're going to kind of put them at an angle down here. And then we're going to take our pumpkin pie bottle, and then this is the peach pie glimmer paper that comes in the 20, golly, I can't even think of what year it is, 24 to 26 glimmer paper. And I die cut the inside of that using those dies, and we're just going to glue that on here. So I'm just going to put just a very small dab of glue on this. It doesn't need a lot. And then we are going to put that in the center on the bottom, toward the bottom of our pumpkin pie. All right. And see, the nice thing is you can make it look tilted, or you can make it straight. It's however you want to do it. All right, and then we're going to actually tilt this bottle. So we're going to put the books and the bottle on dimensionals. So I'm going to grab my small dimensionals and just put a few on here. All right, and we're just going to kind of angle this a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit of fun to it. Because, you know, if it's a Halloween card, it can't be straight. It's got to have just a little bit of fun to it. So I'm just going to put one dimensional on this one. And then we're going to kind of angle this one. And I kind of put it in the center so that I could take the edge of this and place it over the books and it would all be at the same length. All right, so finally we're going to put on our bubbles. So you will get 3 of these bubbles die cut for you. And these are the Highland Heather Glimmer paper. And I think the Old Olive is in what they call the 3-color glimmer pack. And the other one is like Berry Burst. I don't remember. Anyway, it's this one, and this one come from 3 different sets of glimmer paper, and they're all just a lot of fun to use. All right, so I'm going to take one of the medium ones, and I'm just going to put glue on the back of it. And so we will take it and kind of just put it to where it's a little bit up from our cauldron, and then we'll take the larger one and we will put a dimensional on it, but we're going to put the dimensional off to the side so that we can hang part of it off over the Gorgeous Grape die cut circle. So we're just going to kind of do it like this, and then that way I've got the dimensional back here on that paper, but I want to make sure I don't hit that crease. So that's why I kind of put it down just a little. And then we're going to put the other one up here. So we're going to put just a glue dot right here on the edge so that we will be able to attach that and keep it the same height as the, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my glue dot right here on the label, and that way we can do that. And then we will put a small dimensional on the other side of it, and that way it will all be the same height once it's said and done. All right. So we will put this one like this, and then that way it just kind of does that. All right, so then finally we're going to tie a bow with our ribbon. So you will have enough black and white ribbon to tie a bow. So we're just going to do a simple bow. And you can make it as large or small as you would like. I don't want it to be super big, so just kind of do that. And then we'll trim it once we get it on there. So we'll use a couple of glue dots to adhere that. Put that like that. And then just kind of trim your ribbon. All right, there we go. So there's the front of our card, and we'll decorate it with the embellishments in just a minute. So on the inside, we're going to stamp our inside of the card, which is going to say a little hocus pocus, and then we'll put some bubbles down toward the bottom, which is fun. So let's get our little hocus pocus stamp. We're just going to stamp that in the middle, preferably straight, but you know, if you get it a little off kilter, you can just tell everybody you were trying to match the Halloween spirit. So all right, then we're going to stamp the bubbles down on the right corner. All right, and then we'll use our blends to color all of the bubbles. And I'm probably not going to make you watch me do all of the coloring because that would take just a few minutes. But I tell you what, I'll try coloring just a few of these just to kind of give you an idea. So I did this one in the Granny Apple Green. I'm just going to color it all in. And then I did this one in Pumpkin Pie. I love these colors, and I think they really did a great job in giving us all of this for the Halloween season, which is fun. Because again, you can use these kind of cards for just about anything, and it doesn't have to come across as a scary card. We'll do a little bit of pool party. I tend to use the blunt tip on these. Some people like the feather or the brush tip, but I tend to use this just because I feel like I have a little more control over it. All right, we're going to do this one in the Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to do a little more of the lighter shade of that. And I love the way you can, really blend these together. Another thing you can do too, if you ever feel like you got too much ink on there, is you can use the color lifter and take some of your color off. I haven't done that in a long time, so I'm probably not an expert at that by any means, but I know that it does work if you have to ever do that. It is nice to have that option. All right, so you kind of get the idea. I'm not going to bore you with every single color, but I will show you the finished product. So, and then once you get finished, you will just adhere all of this into the center of your card. And when you get finished, it will look like this. So then you will have all these colors, and it's just fun. So let's decorate the front of our card, and then we will be finished with card number 1. So let me grab my, as you can tell, I've used these sparkle back gems quite a bit. I really like these. I think they're a lot of fun, and they're cute, and just there's a lot that you can do with them, and they go with a lot of things. So in this case, we're going to use some of the black, but then some of the silver as well. So we will put one up here, and then we'll put a larger one over here in this area. And how about another smaller black one over here? Move these. And then we'll use some of the silver ones and put a couple of those, whoops, just right around your bubbles, just to kind of give it a little extra. We can use a bigger one for that. And put one right here. So it looks like you have more bubbles coming up, which is always fun. So, and you can add as many or as few of these as you would like, because at the end of the day, it's your creation. So here is card number 1, and then we will move on to card number 2. Let's see, make sure I give you, yeah, there we go. All right. So here's card number 2 that we're going to make. It's one that says Boo with a little broom, which is always fun. So when you pull this out of your packet, again, everything that's on top is what's going to be used to decorate the front of the card. And then what's on the inside, let me move this off so I don't drop everything everywhere. You will see on the inside of your card, you will have a piece of white, which will go on the inside. All right, so let's start with the front. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere this. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And this is that paper that I told you I really liked with the stripes with the white polka dots. So we're going to adhere this to the front of the card. So all right, so now once you have that done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp on this white deckled rectangle. And this is, let me give you the measurements for this. It is approximately 3.5 by 2 1/4. So that's approximately how big it is. So if you don't have the deckled rectangle dies, you can always just cut a piece of white cardstock that is that and do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp a set of the books kind of toward the bottom and kind of in the middle. All right, and then we are going to use our blends to color those again. So we will use pumpkin pie on the top. And then I like to use the lighter color to color on the inside, just to kind of give it a little bit of variation so it doesn't all look like it's one shade. And then next I'm going to go with the Granny Apple Green. So I will use the darker color first and just go along the edges. And then just kind of highlight maybe a little bit of those lines. And then I will use the lighter shade to kind of color in the middle. Just give it a little bit of variation there. All right, next we're going to use Pool Party. So again, we will use our darker to go around the edges. Oops, here we go. So sometimes it's kind of hard to tell which book, but in looking at this, that last little lip is part of this book that's kind of in the middle and not the one on the very bottom. So then we're just going to kind of color this and blend it in with the other one. It's kind of neat that it gives it that variation. And then next, we're going to use the Highland Heather on the bottom one. So again, I'm going to use the dark first. And as you can tell, the dark on this one is really a little bit dark. So, and then we will use the lighter shade. It's nice that, because I know we don't have gorgeous grape blends, but it's nice that we have the Highland Heather and it coordinates so well with it. All right, so there are our books. So now what we want to do is use this small stamp right here that has the little, I call them sparkles. I'm not sure. Maybe they're spells or whatever you want to think of them as. And we're going to use pumpkin pie ink. And we're going to stamp a couple of those. We're not going to do a lot, but just a couple of those around the books to kind of just, I don't know, just for fun. So let's see. We'll do one about right here. We'll do one up here in the right-hand corner. And then we'll do one in the bottom left-hand corner. All right. So now we have that. So finally, we're going to assemble our broom and put down our boo. So one of the things that I did on this, especially on the boo, is I just used glue dots. I did not use the adhesive back sheets on this. You could do that. I find that on some of the glimmer paper, it's a little harder to die cut those with the adhesive back sheets. It could be that I'm just not as experienced at that, and so I don't know what I'm doing, but I will continue to see if I can figure that out. But when I was trying to do that on some of the stuff that I was working on the other day, I was having a hard time getting the dies to cut all the way through. So in the meantime, we will just use glue dots, or I'm sorry, yeah, glue dots. All right, so then we're just gonna put this right here. Whoops, see, this one's kind of sticking out, which we don't want. So there we go. Put it in just a little bit more. All right, and then we'll do the final O. All right, here we go, and we will put this one right here. There we go. I use the mini alphabet dies for these. You could actually use anything you want, but I just felt like those were really cute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use dimensionals to adhere this to the front in the middle of the card. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals and put some of these back here. All right, and we're just going to kind of put this in the middle of the card. So fun. I just love this set. I just think it's so cute. And then we're going to use the dimensional on the broom. I put this one up a little bit toward the top part of the broom. And then I'm going to put another one like just right below that, because part of this is going to hang off. And so I don't want it to be so far down that the dimensional is hanging off of the thing. So I did that. And then whenever we go to put the broom handle on, I'm going to use a glue dot on the back of this so that I can kind of adhere that. And then I will show you, you don't have to, but the other thing is, whoops, there we go. The nice thing is too, you can kind of slide this up or down, and you can even cut it. Like for example, whoops, this is where it would land where it is now because of where I put my dimensionals. So I'm actually going to snip a little bit of this off so that I can get it where I want it and I don't have a broom handle that sticks up higher than my card. So there you go. I actually probably cut that just a little bit short. So we will make it a little bit longer. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, so then we have that. So now we're going to tie a bow with our black and white checked ribbon. I just love this black and white ribbon. It's just perfect for so many things. And it's always fun for this time of year for fall. All right, see if I can. All right, and then you'll use a mini glue dot to attach that. And just put that at the top edge of your broom. And then you can always trim this to the length that you want it. I'm going to trim it just a little. Try and get both sides even. Sometimes that's a challenge for me. All right, so then now we're going to decorate the front of this with our adhesive back sparkle gems. Whoops. And I actually use the gold ones for this. Of course, you can use any color that you would like, but I just found that the gold were really cute with it. So we're going to put one big one up here, and then I did 2 of the smaller ones down here. Oops. And then I guess I did a couple others just kind of random, just to add a little bit more. I love the embellishments, so to me it's always kind of fun to use those up because, you know, they look a lot better on your cards than they do in the packages at the end of the season. So here is the front of card number 2, and then we will do the inside. So on the inside of our card, this one is kind of simple. I tend to stamp first because that way if I mess up, I can always flip the cardstock over and use the back side. So let's do that. We are going to use Gorgeous Grape ink. And we are going to stamp Happy Halloween in the middle. Helps if you don't stick your fingers in the ink. Sometimes I do that just because I like remembering at the end of the day what colors I played with that day. Not really, obviously. So, and then we are going to use our pumpkin pie to stamp the little sparkles around this. So we'll just put one on the right hand side of this, another one on the left, and then one in each of the bottom corners. All right, so now we have that. So we are just simply going to glue this on the inside of the card. One thing that I try to do whenever I'm using especially white cardstock on the insides of my cards is I try to just put glue around the edges, because sometimes I find that the glue on white cardstock will show through, and I don't want it to always show. So I try to just put it along the edges, And that way, if it does show, it's just on the edges and not all around the middle. All right, so here's card number 2. This is the front, and this is the inside. So there we go. All right, so let's move to our third card, which is going to look like this. All right, so this one uses the Gorgeous Grape cardstock, but it also has, which is kind of fun, it uses the Dotted Circles embossing folder. And I just think this embossing folder is so pretty. It's just kind of fun. You know, it kind of gives you that extra special, I don't know, embossing effect, for lack of a better word. And then this one's going to open like this. All right, so let's get started on gluing down our embossing piece. So the way that I did this is you have one part that has the circle at the bottom, and I made that the bottom of the card. So we're going to glue that down on the front. And this piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and then embossed with the dotted circles. All right. And then we have just a piece of white, and we're going to do our stamping on it. And it is approximately, let me get my ruler. It is 3.5 by 2.5. So that gives you the dimensions of this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp with black ink one of the cats, because you know Halloween is famous for having black cats at Halloween. So that's always kind of fun. But this is a cute cat. He's not scary. And then we're going to use basic black. And I used the light one when I did this to just do the shadowing. And then I did smoky slate on the, oh, this is actually smoky slate. And is this our basic black? Yes. And then here's our light basic black. So what I'm going to do is use the light basic black to just kind of go over the highlights a little bit. Because as you can see, this is still pretty dark, even at that. And then we'll do a few here, a little bit down here. And I just kind of dot it over those lines. I don't make it super dark. And then I will use the dark smoky slate and kind of go along the edges with that. And then we'll use the light smoky slate and do kind of the middle just to give it a little bit of shading. And again, I just kind of go along the lines that, you know, the stamps already have embedded into them. Because I feel like they do such a good job of giving us shading hints with that I can't do any better than that. I am not an artist. I have a good friend who her father was just an amazing painter. And she's always been very artistic, but I am not there. All right, and then on the face, I'm just mainly going to use the light. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit, just the light pumpkin pie, and dot his nose. And I mean literally just put a dot. And then for his eyes, I'm going to use the light granny apple green just because it's fun to have a black cat with green eyes. All right, there we go. So then we're going to use the light smoky slate. Make sure this is light. It is. And we're just going to kind of color in the rest of him. Once you get past those tedious parts, it gets a little faster. Here we go. Do you guys have cats? I know that some of you do. I know Marianne does. She has a beautiful cat. I like cats, but we don't currently have any pets, unless you count my husband and myself. But, but I have had cats. In fact, when I was a kid, we had a cat that was a stray in our neighborhood, and my dad let us keep him, or her. It was a her. And because we found out later she was pregnant and had kittens. But she was actually a little black and white, I don't know, calico cat maybe? I'm not a cat person, so I don't really know a lot of that stuff real well. But she was a lot of fun, but we called her Spooks. Because we found her right around Halloween, and that's probably why somebody got rid of her, is because she was a black cat at Halloween, but it was fun. So here's our cat, and this is just with the smoky slate. You can go back and, you know, use your color lifter if you feel like parts of this are too dark, or if you want to do a little more shading, you can use the light smoky shade, or I'm sorry, light smoky slate, and do a little more. The next thing that I did was I just took this die cut of the Granny Apple Green DSP and glued this up here. So we will actually do that once we put it on the card. In the meantime, we're going to stamp some bubbles. So let me just get a sheet of paper to put underneath this, because some of this is going to stamp off. So the first color we're going to do is we're going to do some pumpkin pie bubbles. Put that right there. So I used, for the pumpkin pie, I used the largest bubble that they had. And you can stamp off if you'd like, and then, you know, give it that shadowy effect. I just kind of did them full strength, just because, I don't know, kind of wanted it that way. Oh, you know, the other thing we should do before we get going on all of that is we should stamp a little hocus pocus on here. Let me do that. Let me clean our little hocus pocus stamp so that I don't mix colors on that, because that's not usually fun. All right, so we're going to use Gorgeous Grape to stamp a little hocus pocus. Let's set this off to the side. Here we go. All right, and we're just going to kind of put this in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, like that. And then the next thing we're going to stamp are some Granny Apple Green bubbles, and we'll use the smallest bubble stamp that we have and do some of those. So we'll just do a few random ones. Do one over here. And then lastly, we're going to stamp some, let me do one more. And then lastly, we're going to do the Gorgeous Grape bubbles. And we're going to do the medium one with that one. So they do give you three sizes of bubbles in this stamp set, which is really fun. So we'll do one about right here. We'll do one here. Another one down here. And then finally, we'll do one in the corner. And I think that'll be it for our bubbles. All right. Okie doke. So we are going to set this off to the side. All right. So what we want to do is we want to adhere this to this. Make sure I'm in the screen where you can see me. So you have this strip of Designer Series paper, which I believe is 1 by 4. Let me double check. It's 1 or maybe 7/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 maybe. But we're going to adhere that to the back of this and kind of put it in the center. So what we want to do is just put a strip of glue right here along the bottom. And you can either use Stampin' Seal or your actual green glue. And we're going to just kind of stick this. Well, I think I actually had it a little bit higher. There we go. We'll do it like this so that a lot of that is showing. And then on the back of this, we're going to put dimensionals and then put it in the middle of our Gorgeous Grape embossed cardstock. So we'll use some dimensionals and put this. All right, so this way I kind of overlapped my dimensionals between the DSP and the white cardstock so that I knew that those would not come apart once they're on the card. Oh, and you know, the one thing I forgot to do was wrap my ribbon across there. So we will just put it on there, and this time we will just cut it at the edges. If you have the PDF tutorial, it probably told you to wrap this before you put this on there. But since I messed this up, we are just simply going to cut it at the edges and it will be just fine. All right, so I'm going to use glue dots on this just because I think it will be a little easier to manage. This is how you pivot whenever you mess up, because I'm sure that some of you may not ever have that happen, but we all do, and sometimes it happens in class and just kind of is what it is. So, all right, we're going to go up just a little. There we go. And then what we will do now is just take our snips and just cut it at the edges. See, this is a nice thing about a live class, is you can see that your teacher messes up too. All right, there we go. So unless you tell someone, they're never going to know that that was supposed to be tucked underneath. So that's the nice part of that. All right, so now we are just simply going to attach this here. And then the final piece is we're going to glue our little banner right there. So I'm just going to use a glue dot on this, because then I don't have to worry about glue seeping out, and it just makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to stick this to where the top is flush with the top and put it like that. And then finally we're going to do a bow and add that in the corner. So let's tie a bow. Timmy, I just saw you on here. I'm glad you found us. Thank you for watching. And then we're going to snip this. Sometimes it's hard to see comments and do everything all at the same time. So if I don't see you, or if it takes me a while, please understand that I am excited that you're here. I just don't always see it because I'm just not that coordinated some days. All right. Okie doke. So we will use our embellishments, our adhesive back sparkle gems, and we will put some of these on there. So I used the silver ones for this one because I just felt like they were really pretty and they kind of added to it, especially with our black cat. He's fun. You could always add some of these to his eyes if you wanted to make them sparkle, but we will just, you know, leave it at with the green eyes. And then finally on the inside, we're going to stamp Happy Halloween. We're going to do that in the black. So let me clean this stamp real quick because we used it with Gorgeous Scrape earlier. And so we are going to do that. And then we will glue this down and then do our final card. All right. And then if you would like, you can stamp some of the bubbles down along the bottom. So you can take, just kind of go along with the same pattern that we did earlier and do a couple of the, I think I just did like 3 of each one, and then maybe one down here, and then we'll do Granny Apple Green. And we can do, I think these bubbles are so cute. They're just fun. And they're not something that you see all the time. All right. And then finally, we'll do some with pumpkin pie. And it's nice that we can coordinate the colors with the paper. And it just makes it kind of fun. Do one there, one here, and then one a little bit over there. All right. So there is the inside of our card. So now we're just going to glue this to the inside. All right, so then we just line that up, kind of press it down. All right, so there is card number 3. So this is super fun and just another card to add to your stash, to send out to your family and friends. And then finally, our last card is going to look like this, and it's going to use that Books DSP that is really fun. So I don't think we have as much stamping on this one, and I don't think we have any coloring. Well, we do have some, but we may not do all of it online, so that you can get an idea. So this one should go a little quicker. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a piece of your DSP, which is 4 by 5 1/4 in the Granny Apple Green bubbles. I will tell you, when I cut this, as you can tell, I actually should have done it to where the bubbles were and the little sparkles were vertical, and I didn't. I messed up. But as you'll be able to tell whenever I do it, you can't really tell once the card's done unless you're really looking. So if you have your own paper and you're doing it, I would do it to where the bubbles are vertical and it doesn't look like you have sideways bubbles. So, and the little sparkles. It probably doesn't matter, but sometimes I saw that afterwards and I was like, okay, well, it just kind of is what it is, because at that point I had already glued everything else down and just thought, okay. All right, on this one, we're going to use some of this fun pom-pom ribbon. I know that this is unavailable right now, but the good thing is, if you order $35 or more, you will get enough of this to make this card kit. I don't have a lot of this, but I do have enough that I can give you this because it doesn't take a lot for this kit. So I tell you what, before we do that, let's go ahead and just stamp Happy Halloween on this. And so we are going to use black ink. And stamp Happy Halloween on this label. Okay. And then the other thing we're going to do is go ahead and put together, so we have a piece of the Highland Heather cardstock along with the Highland Heather glimmer paper for the inside of the bottle. We're going to go ahead and kind of adhere that. So you can either use regular adhesive. I'm going to actually use a glue dot, a mini glue dot on this, just to hold this in place. And so we will just kind of put this down here. I think these bottles are so cute. Whoever designed this did a great job. All right, so to assemble this, you're going to take this DSP, and this is, let me give you measurements. It is approximately 2.5 inches by 4 1/4. And then from the piece that, you know, the back side of the sparkle paper is the pumpkin pie with the polka dots. And this one is about 1/4 of an inch by the 4 1/4. So it's going to be about the same. So what we're going to do, and this is one time when I am going to use the Stampin' Seal, we're going to run a piece of Stampin' Seal just down the side and then attach that to that. Well, let me find my Stampin' Seal. Here we go. I knew I had it. It was like, where did I put this? Okay, so make sure I'm putting this on the right side. Okay, so I'm just going to put some of this down the side of this. You don't have to put a lot, because you're really just going to kind of lay this on top of it. So you just kind of want to get like an edge of it showing. All right, to where it just kind of does that. So all you're seeing really is the edge. It's not like you're seeing the entire amount. And then the other thing that you're going to do, which is kind of fun, is you're going to put Stampin' Seal all the way down on both of those together. And then you're going to take the pool party ribbon that you have, and you're going to adhere this to where the edge, let me make sure I have this even. Yeah. The edge is just showing on this to where all you're really getting is the pom-pom edge. So at the end, you just want it to look like that. Mine is actually a little bit crooked. So you can, what's nice is with Stampin' Seal, you can just pull it up and reposition it. So we'll do it over just a tad because I want a little bit more of the blue to show. There we go. And then we're going to just cut this off. And you will have enough of this to do your card. Whoops, sorry about that. I just hit the camera. So, and I will put enough in your card kit for you to do this. Because this pom-pom ribbon is sold out until, I think they said November 11th, if I remember correctly. So now you're going to use dimensionals and just attach this to your card all the way over to the right-hand side of the Granny Apple Green paper. All right, so we're going to use dimensionals on that. And just kind of put these on here, however many or few that you like to use. Whoops. All right, so then pull the backs off of these. Do you ever find that some days you can get the backs off really easy and other days you feel like it's pulling teeth? All right, so we're just going to kind of space this in the middle, but I did put the edge of this all the way up to the end of the Granny Apple Green paper so that you can, you know, have that there. All right, and then you're just going to kind of press this down. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your Happy Halloween and put this right here. So I'm going to put a glue dot on this side and a dimensional over here because this side has a little bit more room on it. So let's do that. We'll stick a dimensional here, and then we will put a glue dot over here. All right, and then we will try to get this straight. Some days I feel like I can do okay on this kind of stuff whenever I'm working on my own, but man, when we're doing a live, not so much every day. All right, and then we're going to use a dimensional on the top of this part so that we can attach this right here and kind of have it overlap your Happy Halloween. So I'm going to use a small dimensional to stick that to the top of that. And then I'm going to stick a glue dot on the other part just so there's something else holding that down. And sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. But in this case, I think I want to. All right, and we're just going to kind of put that at an angle. So there we go. So now we're going to decorate the front. And again, I used a combination of the black and the silver ones on this one. Just because, I don't know, felt like it needed two colors of embellishments because that's always fun. And then we'll put a black one down here on our Happy Halloween. And then we'll put a couple of these on our little bottle to make it look like it's got sparkles around it. And then we can stick another one up here on one of your books. You can pick whichever book you want to put it on. And then for the inside of this one, we stamped a little Hocus Pocus, and we put our bubbles at the bottom with some blends and just colored that in. So we can do that because I don't think that'll take super long. So let's clean this stamp before I stick it in my black ink with gorgeous grape ink on it. You know, when I'm stamping on my own, I tend to clean these as soon as I use them. But when I'm on these videos, I feel like it takes so long. I just don't want to make you sit there and watch me do all of that. So hopefully this is something that you can craft along with and not just watch, because it's a lot more fun if you get to do it yourself too. All right, so there we go. There's a little Hocus Pocus. And then we're going to stamp the bubbles at the bottom right corner of this. I think these are so cute, especially whenever you use the blends to color them in. Oh my goodness, they're just pretty. And I know bubbles at Halloween coming out of a cauldron aren't necessarily supposed to be pretty, but they are. So we'll go with it. All right, so here's kind of what I did on these, just to kind of give you the colors. And obviously you can see these that I've already done. I used pumpkin pie for this one. We'll just try to do this to where you're not having to watch me for hours. But they're so fun. I really, really like the blends. And then we're going to use Highland Heather for this big one over here. So we'll use the blunt tip. And whoops, almost dropped that one. You know, this weekend here in the Dallas area, they started the State Fair of Texas, which is like a pretty big deal. It runs for, I think, 3 weeks. But usually, whenever they have it, even though it's fall, it's always really hot, usually the first few days. And I think yesterday was opening day, and we actually had weather in the 70s and 80s, which is so unusual for us. It's just really kind of nice. So this is our pool party. So that's your dark pool party, and then here's your light. We'll kind of just put that toward the bottom, make it a little bit lighter shade. And then we'll use Granny Apple Green for this little bitty one over here. And I'm just going to use the lighter color on this one and not even bother with the shading because it is such a small bubble. You can always put dark on it if you'd like. And then starting down here in the corner, I'm going to do pumpkin pie. And I just kind of made it look like it kind of comes to an end. And then we're going to do Granny Apple Green next to that one. You know, I just really love the blends. I haven't really played around much with the watercolor pencils. I did buy some of them, and I just really haven't done a lot with them, but I love their blends. I just think their blends are so easy. Whoops, So every now and then this happens. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but I will open up my blends and that whole piece will come out and this other piece will stay in. So I've been told that you can call Stampin' Up about that and they will replace it. But for today, we are just going to use the other color because we did get a little bit of ink here, but we can just tell everybody we tried to spatter it. So, all right, so we're going to use this one. All right. And then we will use Pool Party on this one that's down here toward the bottom of it. Sometimes I wonder if maybe I grabbed those too hard. But I will probably just be replacing that one because I've had it for a really long time. All right, and then sometimes what I do on these two is I start just using like dark on one and then light on another, especially whenever it's this small of a surface area, instead of making all of them, you know, the dark and the light. So we will use our pumpkin pie on this one up here. And on this one, because it is a little bit bigger, I'll probably go ahead and do the shading. All right, and then we'll do a little bit of Highland Heather on this one. And then we'll do some Pool Party on this one. And then we will use Granny Apple Green on this little bitty one that's right here in the middle. And that almost kind of blends in with that Pool Party. Not completely, but a little bit. And then we will use our Highland Heather again right here. Normally I would shade this one, but this is the one that I just messed up the other marker. So we are just going to have one shade of that one. And then we'll use our pumpkin pie on this outer one. And again, I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting on that one. And then that way it has a little bit more depth to it. And then finally, we will use our Granny Apple Green here, which is kind of fun. And then we'll do just a little bit of Pool Party on this one. And then maybe a little bit of our Granny Apple Green. We'll use the darker one right here. There we go. All right, so now that we have all of this done, we're just simply going to glue this on the inside of our card. And as you can tell, because our purple marker did what it did, we have a little bit of extra spatter, but we're just going to tell people it was meant to be that way. I doubt that anyone's ever going to ask you, but I would still send this card out. And I think the majority of my friends would be like, oh, that was just a cute card. They would never say anything about the spatter. So, all right, if I can pick this up, and then we will just kind of put this on the inside. All right, so there we go. So there is our 4th card. So let me show you all 4 of these cards. And again, if you would like the card kit to make these, you will get enough supplies to make all 4 cards. It will include the ribbon, and it will include, let me put these like this. It will include the ribbon, and it will include all of the cardstock that you need, all of the designer series paper. The designer series paper will already be cut for you, and all of the cardstock will be die cut, dry embossed, as well as any punching that needs to be done. You will need to use this host code in order to get that kit and order $35 or more by Friday, October 4th. If you also want the embellishments, because those will not be included with your kit, if your order is $50 or more, you will also receive a pack of the embellishments, and you will get a full pack that will look like this. So if you have questions, feel free to leave those in the comments, and I will definitely get back with you. I appreciate you watching either live or on the recording. And if you like this, please give me a like, and you're also welcome to share this. And thank you for spending your afternoon with me. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.